Hi guys, welcome back to Heather's Dossier. I am happy to say that some changes have been made to this dossier. Some are still in process, but will be finished tonight. I made the mistake of writing down everything I was going to change instead of just typing it into the dossier, so now I'm having to translate everything. So I'm working on that this evening. A little behind, but it will get done. So good news is this actually is done, so we can kind of talk about it. And I'm going to walk you through a couple of things that have already changed and also some things that I'm planning on changing and what I've learned from this experience. So first off, I want to thank you guys so much for your very valuable feedback, Dr. Lee, Dr. LaPrairie, and Dr. Shannon. Super helpful to me. There were a lot of things that we had to fix, and Dr. Rice too. Shout out to Dr. Rice. There were a lot of things that I needed to fix, and I think that I was just in general confused. I've never done something like this before. The only experience I have doing dossiers is as a teacher. Those dossiers look a little different, as I learned, or at least the one for my district did, but they were very backwards, so it's possible that this is where they were supposed to look the whole time. But it definitely is an experience, and it's a love-hate relationship I have with it now because I'm kind of like to get things off of my platter. And I've sort of come to the sad realization that this is a fluid process that's going to follow me or haunt me through the rest of my graduate program. So trying to learn to love it. At any rate, we had a lot of conversation about the first section in particular. There were a lot of things that didn't work with it. And so I've completely changed that in kind of my direction. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And Dr. LaPrairie will be happy to know that I have addressed the breadth and integration portions. I don't have them all typed out yet, but I have addressed it and have a much better understanding of it. So I'm going to kind of start with section 1. I've kind of completely veered my research in an opposite direction with something that I had started, and I think I mentioned this to Dr. Rice's point. I had started some research with our support desk on campus. And one of the ladies down there and I are pretty good friends. We got to talking one day. We're still going to be working on some research in terms of support desk services for SHSU. However, it got me thinking about the fact that there are a lot of schools that do third-party developing for their online courses. And why do they, the students or the professors either A, come to school with us or B, come to work for us? And that translated and kind of snowballed as well into our professional development. Why choose Sam Houston State to make those professional developments? Why not go somewhere else? And not just CMIT and LEMIT, because those are kind of obvious. I mean, we're there. I mean, we're attached to the school. But we've also had some new projects from TxDOT and Miracle Ear and a couple of others that are completely third party that have nothing to do with the university really and could technically take their money elsewhere. So it's been a really great experience. My job, I guess, so to speak, has definitely changed. And so that's given me kind of a new perspective on some interesting things that I'm learning about or that I'm seeing in some trends. So I want to take a look at our support services and what we offer professors and students in terms of either A, support for a course that's been developed, or B, in developing a course. And what I'd ideally like to do is look at support offered to professors, amount of support taken from those professors, and then look at some kind of student satisfaction rating for the courses that have professors that have really worked extensively with us or have not worked at all with us. Or on the flip side of that, for those that are doing third party and are outsourcing, how much support are they offered? How much input do they have in their course? And how happy are they with the end result? How happy are the students? And this may end up needing some additional fine tuning. It's a lot to look at. I don't know if that can all be one study. It probably can't, but that's where I'm heading. So again, this is a fluid process and I'm working towards doing those things. So that's kind of the first candidate goal statement there, is that I talked very extensively about, looking at that, about the shift in the focus, about why that shift has happened, and about my interest in finding additional research for it. So this is a complete 180 from the I have no idea what I'm supposed to be writing about, which is pretty much what I wrote about. So hopefully this is better and closer. I don't think we could have been any further off the mark in attempt 1, so hopefully attempt 2 is better. Okay, moving down to description and primary focus areas. So again, my primary focus areas, there was too much stuff. And I'm still working with the bullets down here. There's one that's missing now that I look at it, so I'll have to fix that. But I've cut it down from about 7 different topic things or knowledges and skills to 2 major ones that have some sub-bullets going on. And that has to do with knowledge and role of the IDE support staff, professors and students, and then emerging technologies and LMS systems. And so part of this has to do with, in terms of the role of the IDE, I need to be able to understand support staff trends and services. I need to understand the role of each of those things and if third-party sources have those things. I need to be able to understand the pros and the cons of having in-course in-house development and outsourcing in-course development. And again, instructional design techniques for both education and professional development settings. Is it better to outsource one or the other or neither? And can education really, areas or places of education really develop professional development tools? Which I think the answer is yes, we do it every day. We prove every day that we're just as good as many third-party companies. However, it would be nice to have some research in support of that. So that's kind of what this is a breakdown of. And breadth and integration, still working on that particular area. I'm still a little confused on what goes down there. I've tried to look at some examples, and they're not very long. So I tried to talk about the fact that, it's going to benefit our school, one, hopefully. Some of the research will benefit us directly in what we do well and what we don't do well, or what's perceived and what's actually reality in terms of what we offer. Or, I hope that other places of business or other educational outlets can look at this and go, okay, well, what are the pros and the cons to doing these things? Because let's face it, the role of the IDE has changed tremendously in the last 10 years. And so it would be really interesting to kind of have some research to sort of look at that and look at where the trends have taken us and how that position has evolved. And same with support functions, support desk, again, huge differences in what we did 10 years ago, at least at SAM, and what we do now and what those support desk services do. So I think it would be really interesting to kind of look at that. I know that that's actually a problem that we have in our own office, is that, there's a misnomer kind of about what we really offer and what we actually offer. I kind of think of those memes that it's like what my mom thinks I do versus what I actually do. That's kind of like how we feel in our office right now. And I think that by doing some of this research, it may sort of encourage additional understanding of what we do and an additional appreciation for what we do amongst ourselves within the SHSU online department as well. So I think that that's all super helpful. Okay, we've kind of done that. Let's take a look at some things. Okay, we don't need to really look at progress in academic program. We didn't have any problems there. The next big area that we had issues with is research competencies, and I haven't changed any of this yet. I've written it, but I need to write it. But I did find Dr. LaPrairie's explanation of this a lot more helpful, because this is way too broad right now. And now that I look at it, I'm going, this is not going to work for research because there's too many. It's like putting 80 ingredients in a container and mixing it up and praying it's going to make cake. This is not that. This is not going to work. So I really appreciated her explaining that, the competencies need to directly relate to whatever it is that I'm doing specifically, and, drawing connections between those two things. And again, lots of stuff down here, way too much stuff. And in terms of some things and not enough stuff in terms of other things. So I'm going to be adding some documents, specifically some scripts that I've written for professional development, some trainings that I've created for professional development, some different examples of our support services that we currently offer and that I currently offer in-house as well. I'm sort of like an extended version of our support desk in some ways, because the institutes are very different than the academic side of the house in terms of that. So I definitely am going to be in the process of adding some of those things, still kind of tweaking and massaging how to do that in the best way possible. But I think the stuff that I did add is not working for this, you know, and some of the bullet points down here are okay. They're not bad by any means, but they don't really match with what I'm saying. And Dr. Rice will be happy to know that I did fix the one link, so now it actually goes to the training evaluation program and not to whatever it was that I posted that was random. So we did at least fix that. But I am in the process of still kind of trying to massage some of that out. I've done a lot of deep thinking on what specifically is going to relate, or what things I need to do in the future to relate to this. So, you know, we're still working it out again with that depth and breadth kind of thing. You know, it's way too broad. So I'm having to do a lot of changes to this to make it work. Although I am pretty excited about the new sort of direction it's going. Again, might still be a little too broad, but I have a feeling that you guys will definitely let me know if it is, which, you know, again, this is a fluid process. It's not something I've done before, so I'm open to suggestions, no question about it. Okay, so anyway, like I said, we are still working on these things and on target indicators down here. Let's go to the next section that we talked about. Again, our evidence of instructional practice competency, same thing, you know, too broad, not specific enough to exactly what that was that I needed to be doing, and not enough representation of what I needed to be doing. You know, everything was kind of willy-nilly and way too broad or didn't really go together. So I've been working very hard to kind of find things that fit into the pieces of the puzzle. Service competencies, so there wasn't very much stuff listed in here. There is more stuff written down now. I guess I didn't realize, and again, pointed out by Dr. Rice and LaPrairie and Dr. Lee, all three, that, you know, a lot of things that I do already count for this, and I guess I just didn't realize, you know, that all of those times I've tutored a student, or I've, you know, done peer editing on a term paper, or I've, you know, worked in the community, whatever it is, or been to a conference and supported our school or our cause, that those things counted. So I'm in the process of updating it. It's not an incredibly long list, but it's longer than this. So I'm kind of excited to get that on there now that I realize that those things all count. So exciting there, because I was pretty worried about it in terms of what I was going to put there. Okay, dissertation prospectus, still blank, not really a surprise there. We'll be doing the committee members soon, and proposed dissertation committee members. I'm super excited to get to meet some people on the 23rd of February, which is my birthday. Very exciting. So really excited to get started at this point. You know, I'm working on my Vita a little bit. You probably won't see changes to this for a little bit longer, but I am working on making this more specific. I'm actually working with someone in the office on this, and she's sort of helping me out, which is why it's not completely done yet, because, you know, she's volunteering to help me as opposed to me paying for her time. So I think that that's, you know, really nice of her, and hopefully she can go back to grad school someday and put that on her dossier, because that would be fantastic. And I think that that's pretty much it. You know, I realized very quickly that a lot of the problems that I had were really, you know, that I was way too broad, not specific enough, kind of all over the place, you know. So I think that this, you know, that this is going to be a better reflection of what I needed to do in the first place after the fact that we met. So that's pretty much it for tonight. I wasted 14 minutes and 42 seconds of your time, so not too bad. If you have any questions, or once you guys see this again, if you have comments, concerns, please share them with me. I am looking forward to hearing from all of you in the future. And again, thank you so much for your continual support with us and your constant feedback and critiques. And I will talk to you guys next time.